Get ready for Triple M's Rush Hour.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Andrew Jarman.
Beautiful to Jarman. Bang! Another nail.
Bernie Vince.
Vince, non-goal kicker, brings the house down.
And Greg Blewett.
There it is. Magnificent performance from young Greg Blewett.
Adelaide's ultimate sports show on every afternoon. Triple M's Rush Hour with Bernie, Bluey and Jars.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to your elite edition of the Triple M Rush Hour, lockdown day 2 on this lovely Thursday. 2 new cases in SA today, 17,000 tested yesterday, a record for our lovely state, South Australia. And 2 men that just break records all the time join me once again. I'm working from home, family. Got dumped out of the studio because Bernie Vince needed some Bernie Vince time. Hello to you, Bernie, and hello to you, Greg Blewett, who's also at home with young Sam. Good afternoon, chaps.
G'day, Giles. A beautiful Thursday, is it? It's 8.5 degrees at the moment. Feels like temperature 1.8. That's at the beautiful West Beach where I'm from. And we've already had 11 mil of rain since 9 a.m. So what's beautiful about it? The sun coming up, or us still being alive? Or
I'll get in before Jars. We need the rain, Burn. We need the rain.
The farmers love the rain.
Yeah, good for the farmers.
Hang on, someone's walking past Jars' house right now.
Is that Rafa?
Yeah, it was.
Rafa. Now, Marion, not yet, love.
Oh, come on.
What was that lunch coming in?
Now, Gregory, the state's doing very well at this stage. As I said, 2 new cases. Now, the Premier, Stephen Marshall, had this to say about what's happening with the COVID.
The good news is lots and lots of testing yesterday, no serious escalation.
Yeah, just the 2. That was very quick. The press conference went for about an hour.
Yeah.
I was watching this morning.
I thought it went for 2 hours, and that's all we could give you.
But as you said, Jars, 2 new cases, so that is fantastic news because, you know, the news that came out late afternoon yesterday with the cases doubled, so I was a little bit worried this morning. But well done, Adelaide. I'm seeing, on the television, people lined up in their cars for hours and hours and hours waiting to get tested. Over 17,500 tests done yesterday, and he reckons more will be done tomorrow in the figures. So bloody well done, Adelaide.
Yeah, good stuff.
Just looking on the webcams here, gents, and we've got Bernie here in the studio, got our producer Jared in his kitchen, Jars is in the Jars self-appointed Hall of Fame. And Blue, which pimp did you steal that chair off in Adelaide? Because that looks like it belongs in a Playboy shoot, mate.
It does.
What do you mean?
You look like Dirk Diggler.
That belongs in a gentleman's club on Highley Street.
It does.
I think I've sat in that one before.
It's the type of chair you sit back, cigar, little
little cognac.
Well,
Got your little skinny arms out in a black T-shirt. You look like Bon Scott.
All right, gentlemen, what's coming up on the show?
Right, now let's... great news. Congratulations to Brisbane, chaps. To Brisbane, who've picked up the 2032 Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
$5 billion. How good's that?
Yeah,
you happy
brilliant.
about that, or was it a waste of money?
Waste of money.
Nah, it's great.
Be
Great for the
careful.
economy. Great to have it here in Australia. How long's it been since we've had one in Australia, Jars?
Sydney 2000 burn.
How many years?
yeah.
That's got to be... Surely you know how to work that out.
I can't believe that 20 years ago.
Oh,
No.
No, it was 21 years.
2021.
Oh,
Actually,
21
I've got to
years ago,
apologise because the Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, went over to Tokyo yesterday.
Yes.
Now, we were a little bit critical of that, but I didn't realise that she was still doing her pitch.
Yeah.
So apparently it went really well, and that's what got us over the line. But that's a fantastic result, 2032. Fantastic for Brisbane and great for Australia.
It's good if you got an investment property in Brisbane too, Jars.
Yes, we'll have to look at that. Trav Boak 300th game tomorrow. Port Adelaide take on the Pies at Marvel Stadium. Greg Blewett will give us his top 5 family lockdown games to play. And the Matildas 2-1 win over New Zealand last night, lads. So I'll watch that. Well done to Sam Kerr. She's a superstar.
What about that header? Jeez. Unbelievable. That's
and the
English
assist.
Premier League.
So we've got plenty to get through. We're going to catch up with Cal Toomey very shortly, lads. Beer with Bluey. We're going to talk about Sam Mitchell and Clarko. Day 2 of the lockdown, Burns final facts. This is your show, Adelaide. I can't go to the phones because I just realised we have to pre-record this damn thing. Anyway, let's go, boys.
1 33353. Give us a call.
Or give us a text for Auto Masters, 04885 1047.
Distinctive Homes, perfect for your lifestyle. Our house, your home.
Let's talk about
Tex.
Let's talk about
Tex.
Triple M's Rush Hour with Tex Walker.
Well, let's go and talk to our very own Taylor Texan Walker. He's in Melbourne. They've finally found somewhere to go and live for 24 hours.
What, to live?
They're playing Hawthorn.
Yes.
God knows where, but he joins us on the Rush Hour. Good afternoon, Tex, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Papa.
Hey, it was a bizarre, chaotic day yesterday. Just run us through it, because you packed your bags, you unpacked them, and then you had to pack them again. And lucky you only packed your jocks and your toothbrush.
And you were going to Brazil to play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had a meeting at the club at 11 o'clock. I went in there just thinking we're doing game review, and 20 minutes into the meeting, we got told we had another full meeting with everyone, all players, coaches. And we had to pack our bag and have our bags back at the footy club by 2 o'clock to then be back at 3 o'clock to fly out at 4 o'clock. So then we got back there, and then we got told it wasn't. Then we're going to Queensland. Then we weren't. Then we're going back to Melbourne. Then
It's Stansbury.
we're going to Broken Hill to play. Then we're going to Stansbury.
30 minutes Oval.
We ended up in Melbourne.
And you
went from
popped
one
in the
lockdown
Williston
to
Footy
another.
Club too for a beer, I heard.
One lockdown to another lockdown.
So, Tex, that would have tested the patience, mate. So what happens after you play this weekend?
Yes, the patience was tested a bit yesterday afternoon for a few of the older guys, but we found out that we're playing Hawthorn Saturday night at Etihad.
Because you would... Well, there's a rumour going around you possibly could play a showdown this weekend. Was that ever on the table? Was that just rumours?
I think it was on the table for a period of time, then for whatever reason that got taken off, I think. So I'm pretty sure that we were going to play it up in Queensland because there was no footy to be in South Australia. But Port couldn't go to Queensland because they'd been in Victoria.
Oh, God. What a mess. Hey, did it cross your mind not to go, or did it cross any of the senior players' minds?
I wouldn't say it crossed my mind not to go, but you had to have the conversation with having family at home, whether Ellie would be fine to be able to look after the kids without me, and she's going into 7-day lockdown as well, so it's going to be pretty tough for her, but the club have been awesome with the support they've been able to give everyone that have families back in Adelaide.
Hey, Tex, so once this weekend's done and dusted, though, what do the next 3 weeks hold? Any idea?
I'll probably sit back and watch the Olympics, Blue, to be honest. I don't know.
You're over it.
No, I'm not too sure, mate. I reckon it'll be day by day, and we'll see how things track back in South Australia. We're hoping to come back at some stage, but plan that we're going to be here for the rest of the season.
Jeez, how's that, Charles? You just got to pack your bags within a couple
I
hours.
wouldn't do it. I couldn't cope.
And possibly go on for 5
I'm
weeks.
staying home with the family.
Just got to touch on the game on the weekend. Message from Nixie after, because in the presser and any media he's done, he sounded a little bit angry.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit frustrated the fact that we've been training a fair bit of like our ability to defend the ground, and on the weekend we're pretty ordinary in that area. So you can understand his frustration, and we're pretty lucky, Ben. We get to train on the G tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be able to train a couple of those things, and hopefully this weekend we can put it in place against Hawthorn.
Texan, how did you find the balance with Tex Walker, Himmelberg, Fogarty and Lynch inside that forward 50 over the weekend?
Yeah, well, I think the forward stoppages were about 5 to 20, so our ability to keep it in the forward half wasn't at the standard for our forwards.
Yeah.
And in saying that, it's a whole team effort to be able to keep it in your front half, but we've certainly got to be able to be better at that and get a few more stoppages, which allows us to try and hit the scoreboard. So if we can do that this weekend, I'm sure we'll be fine being able to play all 4 of us.
Hey, Tex, where are we at, do you think? A promising start to the season, and where we are at now. Do you reckon we've gone backwards a bit?
I'm in Melbourne. You're still in Adelaide, aren't you?
Yeah, but you flew forwards.
Well,
yes. Oh, yeah. Well, sideways, sort of. Up, sideways. But what do you mean where we're at?
Well,
Yeah, where are they at?
The first 6 rounds I thought was very promising coming off the pre-season, and then it just feels like we've possibly gone backwards as a team in terms of our standard.
I think we're just still growing and developing, Blue, to be honest. We've had a lot of young guys debut this year, a lot of young guys debuted last year and still finding their feet. So our group's just growing and developing, so we can certainly get better in areas, and I think our challenge as a group is to be able to do it consistently. If you look on the weekend, probably throughout the last bit of each quarter, we fade away, and that's when teams really punish us. So if we can hold that and continue doing that for consistent 4 quarters, we'll be fine.
Hey, the talk around Darcy Fogarty, I thought he played pretty well on the weekend, hit the scoreboard. I'm sick of him going out of the team. Can you just leave him in there? I know you're not on the selection panel, but can you leave him in there and give him a fair run at it? I'm sick of hearing all this, he needs to be fitter, he needs to work harder in the off-season. He came back fit. He can do what he can be a Tom Hawkins. I know he's a superstar, but he can sit up forward and he's strong in the contest. I feel like, I don't know, it frustrates me. It keeps going out.
People like Rue.
Yeah, Rue says that all the time.
He's a marathon runner.
Yeah, we don't have to be.
Yeah. Good. Well said, Bern.
Yeah, do you agree?
I agree, mate. I'll give you Nixie's number. Give him a call and tell him.
What is it? Call it out loud.
Yeah, I'll read it out. He's just walking past me now.
Well, chuck him
I'll
on.
tell you want to speak to him.
If he wants to come on.
The boys are saying they want you to keep fogging more often. Bernie, Bluey, and Joe. Who are you with, Bernie and Bluey? Who do you?
They're the main two.
Bernie and Bluey.
Yeah, ABC. Nixie said.
Oh, top rating show.
Top rating,
The Rush Hour.
He said he'll put it on the to-do list for you, boys.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you.
All right, take care. Good luck. Have a good hit out. And, I wish Clarko and Sam Mitchell all the best.
When are we having a beer, Tex? Well, we don't know now.
Oh, who knows, mate? Could be in 2024, mate.
Oh, Jesus.
See you, young man. Good luck in the lockdown.
Sir.
Tex Walker there from the Adelaide Crows.
Hey, we're getting to the pointy end of the year. That means draft time. We like to look forward to the draft and to see where the teams finish off and what picks we're going to get. And no better person to talk to at the moment than Cal Toomey, AFL draft guru. Welcome to the show, Cal.
Oh, wrapped to be on, Bern. Guys, how are we, everyone?
Very good. Good to have you back. What's happening with the draft? Adelaide sitting 16th at the moment, Hawthorn 17th. Are we playing for a number 2 pick? Are we playing for Jason Horn Cup this weekend?
The Horn ultimatum. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, which way it goes?
Nice.
The Jason Horn ultimatum. Look, he's a star, isn't he? South Adelaide gun. He's Joel Selwood. The overhead stuff that he does probably makes him a little bit of Nat Fyfe too. So there's a lot to love about him. And, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see which way it goes in these next set of rounds because Adelaide, as you say, currently got pick 3. Is it enough to sneak him through to that point? At this stage, I would say no. You probably have to finish with the bottom pick to end up with Jason Horn, I think. So that either means do you finish last as a Crows and get first call on him, or then do you take it to the trade table and say, okay, we'll give you our first pick, which is number maybe 2 or 3, plus something else, and see if you can tempt the bottom place side into swapping around selections. But, yeah, he's a star, Jason Horn, and you can see why a stack of clubs would love him on their books.
Hey, Cal, I'd love to ask you about the way Adelaide have gone about the draft in the last couple of years. Your thoughts on Chase Jones, Ned McHenry, Fisher Mackesy, all first rounders. They're taking a while to develop, though.
They are, those 3. I mean, I think we've seen good signs from Ned this year, and I think that the pressure and intensity that he brings has been something that across this season has improved, and in incoming seasons will definitely be a part of that forward line mix for the Crows. So I've been pretty, excited by what we've seen there. Fisher Mackesy we haven't seen too much of as yet, of course, and Chase Jones has been in and out of the side. In saying that, though, we've seen Sam Berry a little bit. We've seen Luke Pedler a little bit. Riley Philthorpe looks like a great pick last year when they had the choice of others. Harry Schomburg a couple of seasons ago. So, look, you can't get everyone bang on, but I think we still have to hold the faith with some of those guys that you mentioned at the top. And, yeah, I think that there's bits and pieces that we've seen from those first-round guys, and particularly Ned. I think that the improvement he's shown across this year should be enough to excite some Crows fans.
Hey, Cow, Matt Crouch, All-Australian, best and fairest at Adelaide Footy Club, had his issues with his groins this year, obviously. Been offered a multi-year deal, you reported, but he's knocked it back. Why?
Well, he hasn't knocked it back. That's news to me if he's knocked it back, Bern. At this point, it's in front of him. So it's been presented to him. It's been in front of him for a little bit recently. I think at this point, the Crouch decision, look, other clubs think that he's been gettable. He's potentially been open-minded about where his future could lay in 2022. He's a restricted free agent, so if he does go, of course, like his brother Brad last year, the Crows would get a compensation pick through free agency for him. But at this stage, the Crows, in dealing with him and offering him a deal, as we reported, either 2 or 3 years, I think that shows that they've got an indication they want to keep him, but at the right price. And he's a tough one to gauge in terms of the price because, as you said, hasn't played this year, was getting pretty close to a return, would have played his second game in sample this weekend, but obviously no sample with the Crows in Melbourne. So, yeah, really fascinating to see which sort of way this plays out with Matt Crouch, because it's also difficult to work out if he doesn't stay at Adelaide, where does he go? Because clubs have probably 1 or 2 inside midfielders per team. They don't want too many more of those pure inside midfielders. So it's interesting to see who would go and grab him if he was on the market.
If he did go to another club, what sort of compensation pick for the deal and the terms would Adelaide receive, in your opinion?
I think he's somewhere between second round and end of second round. So that means as a second round pick, it'd come after the Crows' second round selection, which at the moment would be about 22. So it'd be 23, a pretty similar sort of selection to what the Brad Crouch compensation pick was. Or it can happen at the end of the second round, which would obviously be around pick 39, 40, depending on compensation picks that have thrown in up the board as well. So I think he's not willing to get the offers from other clubs whereby it's enough to trigger a first round compensation.
Luke Edwards, that went to West Coast last year, obviously Tyson Edwards' son. Adelaide opted not to pick him up as father-son. 6 games this season, had a bit of history with Jackson being at the club on the rookie list as well. Do you reckon they'll be regretting that now with the performances he's put up?
He's going well, isn't he? I think a lot of clubs would probably be regretting not taking him a little bit earlier. He's a guy that probably suffered in his 18th year, his draft year, whereby the form just didn't happen. There was a little bit of injury issues that happened with him, and that's why he fell a little bit down the draft order. But what we saw is him as a prospect, as a 17-year-old in his bottom age year, was really exciting. He starred for the South Australian under-18 side as a bottom age player. So, yeah, I mean, he's a guy that we'll wait and see how his career goes. But I think that there's probably a little bit of mutual feeling to that decision as well. Go in the open draft and see how things go from there.
Hey, Cow, do you know anything about Luke Dunstan? And he was sounded out by the Crows and eventually didn't come back last year, and all of a sudden now he's going pretty well with the St Kilda?
Yeah, he's unrestricted free agent. So, as you say, had some interest last year. Was told that he wasn't going to play this season. Yeah. So it's one of the great turnarounds in terms of his career and what he's done over the past 6 to 8 weeks. He's been combative. He's tough. He was best on ground a couple of weeks ago in a big win for the Saints. So has really won back his position inside that midfield, and he's working really well alongside Brad Crouch in the midfield there. So, yeah, one to keep an eye on, because I don't think the talks have really heated up with the Saints. So I think there will be more interest in him, and his performances now suggest that there should be a few takers for him, because he'd probably been written off at the start of the year, and it's his call. He can walk to wherever and whichever club he wants to. As an unrestricted free agent, the Saints don't have the option of matching a bid for him. So that's going to be a fascinating one to see how that plays out.
Yeah, he's turned into an inside ball. Funny enough, you say he's working really well with Brad Crouch. He was almost part of that deal last year. Adelaide pulling out on that, as you said. Jack Billings, he's another interesting one. Someone that's going pretty well this season, but obviously the talk is always around the Bontempelli getting picked after him, and where's he at, or his development at? Is he gettable from other clubs?
It's a bit unlucky, isn't he, Jack? Because the pick after him obviously was Marcus Bontempelli. I think if the Bulldogs had had the option in that draft back in 2013, whether they took Billings or Bontempelli, they would have probably taken Bontempelli second. So I reckon they would have taken Billings ahead of Bontempelli at the time. So sliding doors for all parties there. But Billings has started talks on a new deal at the Saints. He's keen to stay. I think the Saints are keen to keep him. he's had some injury troubles this year. He's been playing with a plantar fascia. I'm not sure if you've ever had one of those, Burn, but apparently pretty hard injuries to work through, and he's had some injections as well to make sure he can get to a level of his best, but was really good a couple of weeks ago against Brisbane. So I expect him to stay. There has been some interest out there for him. He's been linked to the Roos and maybe even the Bombers potentially, but I think that the likelihood is that he stays with the Saints.
Cow, just before we let you go, your favourite for the premiership at the moment as it stands? It's wide open in my opinion. Who's your choice? And are Richmond done, especially with the Dustin Martin news?
Richmond's done. Richmond's been done for a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, they're done. I don't think the dynasty's done, though. I think they can come back next year. I like their kids. I like what they've been able to do in terms of giving them some opportunities this year. I think they can come back next year and challenge, but I don't think they can win it this year, particularly with Martin out. Even if he was there, I don't think they could win it. I'm going to reserve judgment, though, on premiership favouritism. I want to wait till Saturday night because I want to see Melbourne and the Bulldogs and see who takes that game by the scruff of the neck at the MCG, because last time the D's were too good for the Dogs, so blew them out of the border in the first quarter. I think the premiership favouritism will rest on that performance. At the moment, I think the Bulldogs are maybe a nose in front, but if the Demons go ahead of them again and beat them twice for the home and away season, then they probably deserve premiership favouritism. So we'll wait and see how that big clash plays out on the weekend.
Well, thanks for the update, Cow. Always great to chat, and you can catch the Road to the Draft podcast anywhere you get your podcast. So thanks again, Cow.
Anytime, guys.
It would appear we've also got Sam Blewett, who's just come into it. G'day, Sammy. How are you, buddy?
It's Rory.
It's Rory. Oh, sorry.
Rory. Yeah, 50-50 guess, and
it was.
How are you,
guess
Rosa?
what? Daddy's busy at work.
Clean Belly Bill of Health, Dyson, get $100 off your first order. Australian Hall of Fame, Rose Midfield.
Today, Junior.
That's how Daddy talks, Rosa.
Hey, Ross. Is that how Daddy talks? No, he's
nodding.
saying yes.
Now, day one of lockdown, how's the families coping now? We've got young Rory now making his debut on the Rush Hour. Greg, you've been grumpy. Start of the show, you're very grumpy and you're just aggressive towards us because
blaming
you've got
the equipment.
you're blaming the equipment.
No, well, the technology's all over the shop
Well,
here.
you've got to work with it, mate.
I know you do, Jars. Thanks for the tip, mate. That's very good. You've been in the industry for 30 years, and that's all you got for me. That's great.
You still don't even know how to turn the computer on.
All pretty good here. I've just gotten into double figures the amount of fights that I've broken up between Sam and Rory. So that's
beautiful.
good. Just tipped us over the edge. And just about double figures with myself and Catherine.
She wants out. I'm getting mailed. She wants out.
She wants out. She's starting to get to know Bluey, and she doesn't like what she's knowing.
Have a look how shagged up he is.
Look at him.
He looks terrible.
He's weathered.
You look.
Well, there's something wrong with my camera, is there?
No, something wrong with your head.
You look weathered. Well, how about you, young Boom Boom?
Oh, we went through this when I was living in Melbourne last year, so we were locked up for a long time.
You're a seasoned campaigner.
But Harvey's he's got a little bit older since then,
of course.
obviously, and he
go.
knows a little bit more what's going on. And for the first time, we had Uncle Chris over on the weekend, Abby's birthday, and he was just talking pretty freely, Chris. He was pretty happy. He'd been at the pub most of the afternoon.
Dropped a
and
few
called
bombs.
called in to watch the Crows and West Coast. Was late, got there about half time. Anyway, was just talking pretty freely like he was in a pub with no kids. And then as soon as they left, F-bomb, just out of nowhere. I couldn't help. You know, you can't help, but I was like, that is very funny. Sounds funny because he's never said it. Yeah. And I laughed, and then he's trying to rip it out again because he's laughing. I just had to walk away, look the other way. He's ripping it out a bit. Oh, no.
Jeez.
No, so he's lost down his learn a word day one.
What about at daycare school?
Well,
was he dropping them there?
We're not allowed to send him in at the moment. But,
I don't know where he gets it from, Burn.
He made it. Can I swear off here? Early.
It's not Uncle Chris.
It's
you.
To. Hard to see up here. These lots of that. Right.
I have no idea where he gets it from, Burn.
I've never spoken like that in front of him. I change. I take that hat off.
Yeah. And
what about you, Jazz?
No, No, I just had a hot bath. Maz and I had a cuddle and a hot bath, and we're ticking along nicely.
Oh, can I get confirmation of this cuddle from Maz? Because you always say
It's
you
just a cuddle.
I couldn't
That's
think of many things worse in this world than having a warm bath with you and then having to cuddle you after. Or at least you'd be clean, I suppose.
You'd be like hugging a plutonium rod after a bath.
No, he's a lightning rod.
That's true.
He's a lightning rod, not the... What rod did you say?
I don't even want to know.
Triple M.
Hey, give me one of those famous giant beers.
It's that time again on the rush hour to have a beer with Bluey.
I love to have a beer with
Bluey.
Clean bill of health, Dyson, get $100 off your first order. Yeah. Australian Hall of Fame, Rose midfield.
Today, Junior.
All right, buddy. What do you got for us for this Thursday? Lockdown day 2.
Great.
What, Haydo, what was wrong with the Hall of Fame? That came out beautifully, I
It did,
thought.
mate. Superb. Like a good cover drive.
Gregory.
Better than the rest.
Got run out.
Come on, Greg.
As you guys know, I do the boundary, and as you heard from the intro there, a couple of things haven't gone according to plan, right? So about 2.5 years ago, Rhett Biglands was doing the boundary for Triple M football, and Biggles decided to have the day off. I don't know where he went, Big Paddy Swayze, as I call him. I'm not sure what happened, but I got the call. So, Bluey, why don't you fill in for Biggles? We'll give you $25. We'll give you, free car parking, and you get a pie with sauce at half time. I thought that's
At Adelaide Oval, that's still about $140 worth.
so I can't knock that back.
Exactly.
So I asked Jars, because he'd done the boundary in previous times, haven't you, Jars? I don't know how many years that you did it.
He invented it, he said. He reckons he invented boundary
No, I
riding.
didn't say I invented it.
Well, what
I
did
didn't
you
say
say?
I invented it.
What did
It's
you
when
say?
Triple M first got the licence, I was one of the first to do it for Triple M. So I didn't invent it.
Oh, I thought
was asked
you
to do
told
it.
me
No.
you invented it.
I didn't tell you that at all, Bert.
Bern, I went to the master. I said, Jars, what do I do? What are the main things? And he said, well, to be honest, Blue, I just sat down and had a couple of beers and watched the footy, and every now and then I'd sort of say something. So I thought that was great advice. So anyway, off I go. So I get to the ground. Crows are playing Freo, and I have to interview both coaches before the start of play. So it was Don Pike and Ross Lyon at the time. So I interviewed Don Pike, and he was great. Asked him a couple of questions, and then the rest of the panel asked him a question. So that job was done. That went smoothly. So then I go over to Ross Lyon. Now, I'm a little bit nervous about Roscoe because everything wasn't going overly well for Freo at that stage. So I've got my questions all lined up for Roscoe. And up comes someone else from the race. It's not Ross Lyon. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm in trouble here. I recognised the face, but I didn't know the name. So it's one of Freo's assistants. So he comes over, I shake his hand, and I'm looking at his pass that he's got hanging around his. So I'm talking to him, not eyeballing him. I'm trying to get his name off his accreditation, and that's not going well. So I said, just 1 second, I've got to talk to my producer. So I go away, and I'm going through the headphones and the microphone. I'm going up to the producer going, Jazz, it's not Ross Lyon, mate, and I've got no idea who it is. And in the meantime, the audio technician has put the cans on the Freo assistant.
Oh, no.
And he's listening to everything.
No.
He's listening he's listening to it, right? So I turn around, and by that stage, I know who it is. It's David Hale. But he straight away he goes, "Hey, Bluey, it's David Hale here." So he listened to everything, saying, "Oh, mate, I've got no idea who this bloke is." So I'm very, very embarrassed. But I've got to say, he was absolutely fantastic about it. Great bloke. Anyway, so I go back up to the box where our producer is, Jared, and I said, Jazz, remembering this is my first day on the job, I said, Jazz, what the hell happened there? It was meant to be Ross Lyon, and it was David Hale. I didn't know his name. I was embarrassed. And he said, oh, yeah, that's right. They told us yesterday that Ross Lyon wasn't available. Is that the biggest stitch-up of all time?
It is a stitch-up, Gregory. Yes.
So I've got a couple of issues with that story.
Yeah.
You rang Jars for advice on how to speak. That's the biggest surprise. Was this your first time, did you say?
First time.
First ever time. Oh, no.
Yep.
And, second big surprise was that Jared was actually there on time because generally he gets there sort of just before quarter time when the interviews and the games are, well and truly into the game. And David Hale, he's only a 3-time premiership player for Hawthorn Blue. That's what you get when you throw cricketers on the boundary for another sport. Yeah. We don't go out and do the pitch report, do we?
Well,
we should.
that's a good point. But you know what threw me, Bern?
What?
He didn't have his hairpiece on.
He's back
Has he got a
natural.
rug?
He'd gone back El Natural.
Oh, no.
Well done, mate.
Used to,
And you've come through with flying colours too, Gregory. Really proud of your
I've turned the corner.
It's been
Thanks,
a
Jas.
man.
I'm now drinking on the down next to you, Jas.
It's been downhill since that first interview.
And Blue, trust us. You don't want his advice on the boundary. You don't want his advice on calling a handball comp either.
Good luck, boys. $1,000
You
up
got
for
5
grabs.
handballs?
How generous is Triple M? Unbelievable.
Are we paying for it, are we?
Kristen on my left.
And Chris.
And Chris on my right.
Christian or Christian?
Kristen and Chris. All right?
All the best,
Shake
mate.
hand,
Well
boys. Now, the format
Who's
is...
going first?
You have 5 shots each.
Yep.
Whoever wins $1,000.
Okay, George.
Which Christian's going first?
Well, we're about to toss the bloody coin.
All right.
Get the 2 in and you win the $1,000.
Is this Christian or Chris? Chris. Right. Okay. Heads or tails?
Who wants to call?
Christian will call. Chris will call.
What about your first comment, Jazz? Yeah, we got Christian and Christian. I meant Chris. You idiot.
Oh, that's gold.
I forgot about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Bernie Fitz's super exciting, ultra mega important, interesting, bizarre final fact. Jazz doesn't like it.
He does. I think he does. You're warming
What
to
have
it,
you got,
Jazz?
Clipper?
Hey,
What have you got?
Hey, relax. 22nd of July today. World Hammock Day. Jazz, have you got a hammock at home? You going to be out in that? or?
Going to purchase one. Yeah, I will.
Are you going to purchase one now, are you?
But I don't have any trees, so I've got to work it out.
Get an extra strong one.
Yeah. What, tree or hammock?
Both.
Jazz, you won't go out and purchase one. You'll just ask around to see if anyone knows someone that has a hammock shop that you can get one for free. That's how you work. Hey, 2019 on this day, Marvel's Avengers movie, Avenger Endgame, became the most financially successful movie of all time. Guess what this grossed, boys?
I know how it's pronounced. Avengers.
Avengers, whatever it is.
Just store
What
that one.
did you say? Avengers.
Yes. Oh, like you knew it, did you, Jazz?
Yeah, I did.
What did it gross then?
Come down. Avengers only $2.99 a kilo.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Fresh
yeah.
Avengers $22.99 a kilo. At Bernie's Fruit and Veg.
$2.79 billion it grossed.
Jeez.
That'd be handy, wouldn't it? Maybe we should make a movie, boys. A successful movie.
Yeah.
What would we call it?
Three Stooges.
No.
One Stooger and 2 other fellas.
No.
That's what I'd call it. Hey, in
lightning rod.
2016 on this day, the world's last VCR was manufactured. The last one. Have you got one, Jazz, still?
Yes, I have been.
Oh, because you got all those tapes to play, I suppose, haven't you?
Yeah,
You haven't put them over onto a DVD
not
or a
yet.
disc. Hey,
No.
on this day, 1983, the first ever solo helicopter flight went around the world in a helicopter, Jazz. Guess who it was? Australian.
Greg Blewett.
It was Greg Blewett. No, it was Dick Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Dick Smith did it.
I remember that.
Oh, you remember it, do you? After I told
I'm
you.
sorry.
What year were you born, Blue?
71.
I got it
Oh, you
confused
would've
with
been
another
12.
dick.
Hey, don't
Was
swear.
that? Hey, birthdays, 1992, Selena Gomez. You know much about her, Jazz?
No, I don't, Burn.
Oh.
Why don't you Google her and really do something for your Google search history?
She lovely.
Well, she went out with Justin Bieber, I think, at one stage. Did whatever with him. Hey, a couple of AFL birthdays. Ollie Florent, 23. Clayton Oliver, 24. Jeez, he's got a long future. Jared Lyons, also a local boy, 29. Hey, Des, and I want to go to you with this one, Blue. I know Des are always sad, but on this day, 1995, Harold Larwood, the English cricketer. Now, what was he famous for?
Bouncing the crap out of Sir Donald Bradman and the rest of the boys. Bodyline.
Bodyline. So that was he. So
Yes.
he introduced that, did he?
He was a bit of a tearaway. Well, I don't know whether it was his plan, but it was the team's plan. He just bounced crap out. Had about 5 people behind leg. On the
you're
Is
joking.
that why they had to change that rule?
Yes.
Only
that's
2
why the
behind
rule-
leg.
Yes,
he
that's
changed
right.
the game then, didn't he? Hey, just
Where's the music, Heyday?
Well, I'm not going to talk about someone's death and... on this day, a legend of the game passed away.
yeah, but hey, we got to acknowledge it because we changed the game, changed the rules. Hey, a fact to send you off, and what are you up to today, Jars? Because this fact will stick with you for a while.
Not yet, Maz.
Jars,
Yes.
get back here. What do you mean not yet? What are you about to go and do?
Maz keeps knocking on the door.
Yeah, he's trying to get you out.
Love, wait.
Hey, does anyone have a slinky when they were younger, a wee boy? Jars, you probably still got one.
That's an ice block.
What?
No,
a slinky. What did he say then?
it's an ice block. He thought it was an icy pop. Jars, it's a spring that you could let it go downstairs, top over tail.
Well,
and
the
things like
slinky was created by accident because a naval engineer, Richard James, was trying to create a spring that could help stabilise equipment on boats in choppy waters. So it had to have a little bit of give. However, his spring's ability to move seemingly on its own proved more interesting and became the prototype for the slinky in 1943. So there you go. Jars?
Well done,
Thanks,
Bern.
boys.
What's
well
Maz
done,
in the
buddy.
room for now?
She's not in the room.
Jars, put your clothes back on, Jars. Jars, we can still see you.
What's happening
Jars?
under the desk?
Jars! We can still see you. Turn your video off. Turn your video off, Jars.
There it is.
We can see you.
Stay safe. Stay
Bernie's
safe.
final
boys.
facts.
Why is his dogs coming in?
All thanks to Vince Fruit and Veg, where Avengers are just $2.99 a kilo.
Avengers, yeah, well done. Well done, Clipper. It's Avengers, you chunky.
It's a shit movie anyway.